Hello, photographers. One of the most common questions that I get asked is how do I know what settings to use when shooting in manual mode? Or what settings should I use when I take a picture of this or that or whatever the thing might be that you're trying to take a picture of? Now, this is the $64,000 question, and over my years of teaching and seeing how people learn and shoot, I've developed a method that makes it super simple to choose the right settings for whatever situation you are shooting in so that the photo looks the way you want it to look. And I even created a fun little acronym that helps you remember how this process works. It's called the I am shooting method. I am shooting is a simple phrase to help you remember what order to set your settings in. You start with ISO, then you set the aperture, and you finish with the shutter speed. It's super simple and easy to remember and makes choosing your settings fast and efficient. See, what I noticed when teaching is that the biggest problem people had when learning how to shoot in manual mode was trying to set their settings with no particular order or rhyme or reason to why they were setting any of the settings at all. And this willy-nilly approach always led to frustration because there was no process, and with no process, there was no destination. Sure, they all had the idea that they wanted to set their settings to take a photo, but there was no map for them to get from set your settings to take a photo. With I am shooting, you have a map, a place to start, a path to follow, and a destination that will give you the settings you need for the photo you want to take. So it works like this. You start with I for ISO. When you walk into a scene, the first thing you do is set your ISO based on your evaluation of the lighting conditions. For instance, if I walk into a wedding reception with typically dim lighting, I'm going to immediately set my ISO to something like 16 or 3200. After I is am for aperture. And you set the aperture based on what you want for your depth of field, and when you make this evaluation, you also have to consider the lighting conditions. So to continue with the example of the wedding, I'd want shallower depth of field to isolate the subjects, and because it's a low light situation, I'd also want as much light coming into the camera as possible. So based on that, I'd set my aperture to the lowest possible setting for my lens, which is f2.8. And then after am is shooting for shutter speed. And here, you set your shutter speed wherever you need it to get a sharp photo. In the case of the wedding, I'd likely be shooting with my 40 to 150 millimeter f2.8 lens, so I'd want to set my shutter speed to 1/160th of a second to avoid any blur from camera shake. Now, once you get to this point, you don't just start shooting because you still need to check your exposure indicator. So what you do is you point your camera at your subject, and if it's reading that the image will be over or underexposed, what you do is go back to the top of the rotation and adjust the ISO to bring your exposure value to 0. And then you shoot. That's all there is to it. It's simple, easy, and effective. And this method works because of repetition and consistency. If you do something the same way every single time, eventually it becomes a habit that you don't even have to think about. Like the way you tie your shoes or put on your pants. In fact, I guarantee you that every time you put pants on, you do it the exact same way without even thinking about it. And choosing your camera settings can be as easy and automatic as putting on your pants is if you do it the same exact way every single time. Now, initially, it won't be super fast, and you'll have to think about each setting and what order to do it in, but that's why I created the I am shooting mnemonic device to help you remember. Now, some people might argue that this is the wrong order for setting your settings. And some other people might say that you should start with your aperture, and other people might say you should start with your shutter speed. The bottom line is that there is no right way to set your settings. The right way is the way that gets you the photo you want to take. And I guarantee you that if you consistently use the I am shooting method, you will be quickly and easily choosing the right settings for your photos every single time. Now, I've put together a cheat sheet to help you remember and use this when you're out shooting in the field. And if you want to get that cheat sheet, just visit this link right here. And if you have any questions about I am shooting or shooting in manual or anything else, let me know down in the comments. And then do me a favor and like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you really like this video, please share it with your friends. Sharing is caring. But whether or not you do, you better get out there and take some damn photos. I'll see you tomorrow for the live show. So check it out. I got a new hat. This one was like, it's got holes in it. There's holes all over the place, but I feel a little bit like I'm an Aaron Nace poser now. Thank you for watching. Now, I get loads of questions and they all boil down to one thing, which is how do I make my camera do what I want it to do? And here's the thing, your camera is like an instrument, and you can't make music if you can't play your instrument. If you want to learn how to play your camera like the instrument it is, visit this link right here to check out my Guide to Shooting in Manual Mode video course.